My dear precious soul, let me speak gently to your heart today. There comes a time in every life when the eyes must stop scanning the room for validation and turn inward to gaze upon the soul God placed in your chest. There is something sacred, something holy about learning to mind your own garden before you inspect the weeds in someone else's. Now, I've lived long enough to know that comparison is a thief and jealousy is its wick accomplice. And the two of them, they will rob you blind if you let them. They will whisper that someone else's blessing should have been yours. They will have you doubting your worth, questioning your purpose, and measuring your journey against a road that was never meant for your feet. But child, let me tell you this, God didn't make you to be her, or him, or them. God made you to be you, authentically, powerfully, unapologetically. You see, the oak tree does not envy the willow. The moon does not beg for the sun's light, and the river flows in its own rhythm. It does not compete with the ocean. So why, dear one, would you shrink your soul by trying to live in someone else's shadow? Focus on yourself. Child, let me sit with you a moment and tell you a truth the world often forgets. A truth so old it was whispered by the ancients, and so sacred that only the still-hearted can truly hear it. You were not born to compare. You were born to be. You see, comparison is a crooked mirror. It does not reflect your beauty, your strength, your truth. No, it distorts it. It warps your glory into shame and your uniqueness into envy. It turns your soul's gentle rhythm into a race you were never meant to run. Oh, how quickly we forget who we are when we start looking side to side. You were once a child who danced in her own shadow, who laughed at the wind and talked to God without fear or formality. But somewhere along the road, this word told you that being you was not enough. It told you to measure your worth by the inches of another woman's waist, by the echo of applause that wasn't meant for your name, by the bricks that someone else used to build their house. And so you began to shrink slowly, like a rose pressed too tightly between the pages of a book never read. But let me remind you, beloveding, the sun does not apologize for how bright it shines. The lion does not invite the cheetah's speed. And you, a wonder shaped by God's own hand, have no business doubting your design because of someone else's blessing. Don't you know? You can drown in someone else's ocean while ignoring the beauty of your own stream. We scroll through the highlight reels of other people's lives, forgetting they are just that. Highlights. We see the smile, but not the sleepless nights. We see the home, but not the foreclosure they escaped. We see the marriage, but not the nights they cried on separate sides of the bed. Oh yes, child. Comparison will have you admiring a crown without knowing the cost of the cross they carried to wear it. And still we compare. We see her body and we hate our reflection. We hear his success and we question our purpose. We watch their joy and we wonder what's wrong with our sorrow. But let me tell you, comparison is a liar. It will rob you of your peace. It will strangle your creativity. It will bury your passion beneath layers of shame and doubt. You cannot build your house if your eyes are always fixed on your neighbor's foundation. And what a tragedy it is, to live in your own skin and never know its beauty, to carry your own soul and never know its weight, because you spent a lifetime measuring yourself against someone else's yardstick. Beloved, that is not the way of the wise. That is not the way of the soul. And surely it is not the way of the Lord. The Creator of heaven and earth did not breathe life into your lungs just so you could waste it watching someone else breathe. Focus. Come back to yourself. What is yours will find you. What is meant for your hands will not rest in someone else's. You must trust that the delay is not denial, that your path is unfolding even when it's not paved with gold. You are not behind. You are not less. You are not forgotten. You are becoming. And becoming takes time. Let them shine, and you shine too. Let them rise, and you rise too. This is not a competition, this is a calling. And your calling has your name on it, no one else's. It was carved in spirit and sealed with breath before your mother ever held you. Now is the time to stop watching and start living. Your life is not a rerun of theirs. It's an original, one-of-a-kind, divinely orchestrated masterpiece. It deserves your attention, your devotion, your whole heart. When you compare, you delay your own blooming. Flowers don't all blossom at the same time, yet no one doubts the rose simply because the lily bloomed first. So let the world go on shining. Let others be great. Their greatness does not dim your light. The sky is big enough for every star. And you, my dear, are one of them. Fix your gaze inward. Reclaim your peace. Put your energy into building, not belittling. Pour into your gifts like they are sacred, because they are. Write your story like only you can. Walk your walk like the path was made for your feet, because it was. And if ever you are tempted to look over the fence again, let it be to bless, not to compare. Let it be to say, look at God, not, why not me? Because the same God who blessed them has not forgotten you. And when it's your turn, and it will be, you'll be so glad you were too focused on growing to waste a moment in being. Child, comparison is beneath you. Let it go. Return to yourself. Rise in your own time, bloom in your own season, and walk forward with the quiet power of someone who knows there is no one like me. And that is my power. Amen. There's a fire that burns low and steady in the soul of a person who has decided, finally and fully, to be themselves. Not what the world wants, not what the crowd claps for, not what the mirror critiques, but simply, sweetly, strongly themselves. Baby, let me tell you something I've learned walking through years, storms, and sacred silence. The moment you embrace your true self is the moment you begin to walk in power, not the loud, boastful kind of power that needs to prove, but the still, steady kind, the kind that doesn't flinch when overlooked, doesn't shake when misunderstood, and surely doesn't bind just to be accepted. You see, God don't make copies. When He crafted you, He did so with an imagination as wide as the sea. Every freckle on your skin, every scar on your spirit, every dream tucked beneath your ribs, He called it good. And who are we to disagree with God? There is a certain kind of holy rebellion in being who you in a world that keeps trying to convince you to be someone else. But that rebellion, my dear, is sacred. It is freedom. The world will give you masks, so many masks, one for work, one for family, one for church, one for the streets, one for the sorrow you carry but aren't allowed to show. But the thing about masks is, they suffocate the soul. You can only hold your breath so long before you forget how to breathe in your own skin. And child, you deserve to breathe. Let the others play dress up with their lives if they must, but you come as you are. Raw. Radiant. That's the only way truth can walk with you. That's the only way joy can recognize your voice. Now, don't let them fool you. Authenticity will cost you. Yes, it will. You'll lose people. You'll lose approval. You'll even lose the version of yourself that once begged to belong. But what you gain cannot be measured. You gain peace. Not the fragile peace that comes from pleasing others, but the sturdy peace that says, I know who I am, and that is enough. You gain strength, because there is nothing stronger than a soul that has stopped running from itself. You gain purpose, because purpose can only find a person who is still enough, true enough, and bold enough to receive it. Let me remind you, there is no need to perform. You don't have to audition for love. You don't have to hustle for worth. You don't need to shrink your laughter or quiet your brilliance to keep someone else comfortable. No, ma'am. No, sir. The light God put in you was never meant to be dimmed. It was meant to lead. When you are authentic, you allow others to do the same. Your honesty becomes an invitation. Your freedom becomes a blueprint. Your boldness becomes a mirror to those still learning how to love themselves. Now I've seen the world, and I've seen what happens to people who choose to be real. They don't always get the accolades. They don't always make the headlines. But let me tell you this, they are remembered. They are respected. And more than anything, they are whole. You can have the world's applause and still feel empty. But when you walk in truth, when you speak with the voice God gave you, when you move through life like you were born with purpose, because you weren't, then and only then do you begin to live. Be the kind of woman, be the kind of man, be the kind of soul that refuses to be packaged. Refuse to be labeled, trimmed, or tamed. Refuse to be everyone's version of. Just right. There is such richness in being too much for the wrong people, and just enough for the divine purpose set before you. So wear your truth like a garment woven from grace. Let your past speak, but don't let it shame you. Let your wounds teach, but don't let them name you. You are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become in the midst of it. Authenticity is not perfection. It's presence. It's showing up when it's hard. It's speaking when your voice shakes. It's saying no without guilt. It's saying yes without explanation. It's crying when you need to cry, and laughing loud enough to stir the angels when joy finally returns. Now, I know it ain't easy. The world will whisper, be quieter, be smaller, be easier to digest. But don't you dare. Don't you dare let the world make you forget that you were born to be full. Full of fire, full of spirit, full of wonder. Your authenticity is a declaration that says, I am God's creation, and I will not apologize for that. So show up with your scars and your brilliance, your fears and your faith. Show up trembling if you must, but show up as yourself, because that is where the magic lives. That is where the healing begins. That is where the light gets in. And when you finally stand in the center of your own being, unashamed and unbothered, you will find that you are no longer chasing power. You are walking in it. You are no longer asking for permission. You are claiming your space. And the heavens rejoice, because another soul has remembered what it came here to be, whole, holy and unafraid. So take a deep breath, love. Strip off the roles they gave you. Lay down the masks. Unlearn the lies, and rise, just as you are, because the moment you do, the world shifts, the earth applauds, and the sky bends low to whisper, well done, child. You remembered who you are, and for that you are already victorious. Amen. There is a slow poison that seeps into the bones of the bold and the quiet alike, and that poison is comparison. It does not roar like rage nor sting like betrayal, but oh, how it steals. It creeps in softly, through a glance, through a whisper, through the scroll of a screen, and before you know it, you have forgotten your own name, your own grace, your own lane. Child, you were never meant to be someone else. You were never designed to fit the mold of another person's life. You were born with a signature soul, a sacred rhythm, a divine assignment. But when you start measuring your worth against what someone else is doing, having, saying, or becoming, you lose your footing. You stumble away from your purpose and into a place of confusion. Now, I have known envy. I have stared it in the face. I have seen it dressed up in Sunday clothes, smiling with tight lips and tired eyes. Envy doesn't always look like jealousy. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like shrinking when someone else shines. But however it shows up, it always brings sorrow. See, comparison is not just a thief of joy. No, it is a destroyer of identity. It tricks you into believing that someone else's blessing is a threat to your own. But let me tell you, my dear, there is room. There is enough. There is more than enough for each soul to rise, for each dream to bloom, for each gift to be poured out like oil upon the earth. We were never made to compete. We were made to contribute. You can admire another woman's beauty without questioning your own. You can celebrate another man's success without feeling smaller in your own skin. You can witness someone else's moment in the sun and still trust that yours is coming. Because it is. Oh yes, it is. The sun does not apologize for shining, and neither should you. And just because the moon glows in a different hour does not mean it is any less majestic. Your time will come. Your bloom will break forth. But not if you're too busy watching someone else's garden grow. I say this with love, with fire, and with faith. Put your eyes back on your own paper. Stop looking left. Stop looking right. The race is not against her, him, or them. The race is against the lie that says you are not enough. That lie has been passed down through generations. Hidden in magazines and sermons and social feeds, whispered in the wind, planted in little girls and grown women and strong men who now doubt their worth. But I came to uproot that lie. I came to speak truth where there's been too much noise. Let me tell you what I know for sure. God does not bless copies. He blesses truth. He blesses effort. He blesses the one who dares to show up, trembling but honest, flawed but faithful. So why waste another day wishing you were shaped like her, built like him, walking in their shoes? Those shoes weren't made for your journey. Those shoes would blister your feet and slow your stride. Your walk is sacred. It may be slower. It may be quieter. It may not come with applause or a parade. But baby, it is yours. And that is enough. Now hear me when I say this. Comparing your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel will leave you bitter and broken. You don't know what it took for them to get there. You don't know the nights they cried, the prayers they whispered, the failures they buried. So don't you dare envy someone's glory without understanding their story. Instead, lean into your own. Turn the pages of your life and find the gold in the struggle, the beauty in the becoming. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on time for what is yours. You want peace. Let go of the race. Let go of the pressure. Let go of the myth that says you must have what they have to be happy. Your path is custom made by the same God who carved mountains and parted seas. He didn't forget you. He's just not finished yet. There is power in gratitude. There is healing in presence. There is freedom in letting go. So today, look at your own hands. What have they built? What have they held? What prayers have they lifted? That is holy. Look at your feet. Where have they walked? Through fear, joy. That is sacred. Look at your reflection. Not with judgment, but with grace. You are not perfect, but you are purposeful. You are not lacking. You are learning. You are not broken. You are becoming. And every time you choose to focus on your own growth instead of someone else's gains, you win. Every time you speak life over yourself instead of comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20, you rise. And every time you bless someone else's journey without questioning your own, you are free. Now that, my dear, is power. So promise me this. Next time you feel the urge to measure your life by someone else's yardstick, you will stop, breathe, and remind yourself of the true thing. I am enough. I am called. I am chosen. I am becoming all I was born to be, not in her image, not in his shadow, but in my own divine light. That sweet soul is the kind of freedom no one can take from you. That is the kind of self-love that sings louder than shame and dances taller than doubt. That is the kind of truth that sets the world on fire. And you, beloved, were made to burn with that truth. So go on. Let them run their race, but you walk your own path with your head high, your heart open, and your soul anchored in the knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Because when you let go of comparison, you make room for confidence. And when confidence comes home, peace is not far behind. There will always be noise. You can dress it up in a chair robe, give it a pulpit, or hand it a microphone, and still it will be noise. It shouts from the corners of your doubt, creeps through cracks in your resolve, and dances with delight when you forget who you are. The world is loud, child. It is a sea of opinions wrapped in certainty, shouting, do this, be that, look like her, act like him. But you, precious soul, were not created to live by the volume of the crowd. You were designed to be led by the still, small voice within. You see, there's a sacred quiet that lives deep in the bones of those who know themselves. It doesn't need validation. It doesn't seek permission. It doesn't ask, am I enough? For it already knows the answer. That quiet comes from knowing you are made of divine dust, that your worth is not up for debate, that your journey, your path, your purpose are all your own. But oh, how easy it is to forget that truth when the noise grows loud. You turn on the television, and it tells you what beauty should look like. You scroll your screen, and it shows you who's trending, who's winning, who's being seen. Friends and strangers alike will speak over your dream as if it is theirs to narrate. Some will whisper from love, others will murmur from fear, but it is all noise nonetheless. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to tune your soul to the wrong frequency. You'll start shrinking your light to make others more comfortable. You'll ignore your calling to chase their applause. You'll abandon your voice and take up theirs, hoping it will somehow make you more whole. But you can't hear heaven when the world is too loud. You can't walk straight when you're looking side to side. And you can't move forward with confidence when your heart is cluttered with every opinion but your own. So I say this with love wrapped in steel, silence the noise. I don't mean silence people forever, no. I mean learn to pause. Learn to pull back. Learn to step into stillness until you can once again recognize the sound of your own spirit speaking. God never needed a megaphone to get through to you. But you must be willing to turn the volume down on the world if you want to hear what he has to say. There's wisdom in quiet. There's peace in pulling away. Some of your most sacred breakthroughs will not come in a crowd. They will come in solitude. In the still morning hours before the city wakes, in the whisper of wind brushing against your cheek, in the moments you dare to sit alone with your own heart and not run from what it says. But we've been taught to fill every silence, haven't we? Taught that if things get quiet, something must be wrong. But let me tell you, some of the most dangerous people I know are the ones who've learned to be still, who don't need to prove themselves, who don't need to chase attention, who have made peace with the sound of their own soul. When you silence the noise, you stop living for performance. You stop needing to be liked, noticed, praised. And you start living with intention, with clarity, with courage. That's when you begin to move different. You walk into rooms without needing approval. You speak truth without trembling. You choose peace over popularity. And you give yourself permission to grow without needing everyone to understand your process. Everybody won't understand your quiet. That's all right. Everybody won't respect your boundaries. That's all right too. You are not living to be understood by the crowd. You are living to be aligned with your Creator. And God is not found in chaos. He is found in the calm. I remember times when I thought I needed to respond to everything, to defend myself, to explain, to make people see what I meant, what I felt, what I was trying to do. But the older I got, the more I realized silence can be an answer. Stillness can be a strategy, and peace is often more powerful than any argument. Let them say what they will. Let the world do what it does. Let the noise rise if it must. But you, child, stay anchored. Stay rooted. Stay in tune with the melody only your soul can hear. Because when the world gets loud, it's not just distraction, it's distortion. The noise will have you questioning your worth. It will make you second-guess your progress. It will twist truth and magnify fear until you forget how far you've come. That's why you've got to shut it off sometimes. Get quiet. Retreat into the sacred place within you where God lives and speaks and reminds you who you are. And when you come back from that quiet, when you rise from that stillness, you will be stronger. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You will walk with clarity. You will speak with purpose. You will act from alignment. Noise thrives in confusion, but you were made for clarity. Noise thrives on fear, but you were shaped by faith. Noise demands reaction, but you, beloved, are called to respond with wisdom. There is no shame in silence. There is no weakness in stillness. In fact, some of the most powerful things you'll ever do will happen when no one's watching, when no one's clapping, when it's just you, God, and the breath in your lungs. So today, if the world is too loud, pull back, close the door, take a walk, say a prayer, lay your heart bare before the one who knows you best. Let him speak to the places that ache. Let him remind you that you are not forgotten, that you don't need to strive to be seen, that you don't need to compete to be worthy. You already are. There's a sound more beautiful than applause. It's the sound of peace, the sound of purpose aligning with destiny, the sound of a soul that is whole because it has been still. So hush now. Let the noise die down. You've got nothing to prove and everything to gain. When the time is right, your voice will rise again. And when it does, it won't be filled with anxiety or desperation. It will be filled with truth, with power, with God. And that, my dear, will be the sound of a soul that has learned to silence the noise and listen to the divine. Yes, child, you must learn to grow in your own garden. You must learn to plant where your hands can reach, water what is yours to nourish, and tend to the soil of your soul with care and reverence. There is something holy about turning inward, not in selfishness, no, but in stewardship. For how can you give to others what you have not cultivated within yourself? It is tempting, I know, to stretch your arms wide, to scatter your attention like seeds in the wind. The world pulls at you, telling you to do more, be more, serve here, show up there. But you must never forget this curse. No one else is responsible for the condition of your soul but you. Your peace, your purpose, your joy, your healing. These are gardens that only you can grow. You see, too many of us are walking around with withered roots, wondering why we feel so dry. We've spent so much time trying to fix others, impress others, save others, that we've neglected the sacred plot God has given us. But a tree cannot grow if it pours all its water into the forest. It must drink deeply first from the soil beneath its own feet. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for focusing on your growth. Don't let the world convince you that tending to your own heart is a luxury. It is survival. It is obedience. It is love in its truest form. Because when you grow yourself, you don't just bloom for you. You bloom for everyone who needs the shade of your strength. You bloom for the weary traveler who stumbles into your life and finds rest in your words. You bloom for the next generation who needs to see what healing looks like. You bloom for the ones who never got the chance, so that your life becomes a testament that it can be done. But growth, child, isn't always glamorous. It is messy. It is slow. It is painful sometimes. There will be seasons when nothing seems to sprout, no matter how hard you work the land. There will be moments when you look around and see others flourishing while you feel forgotten. Don't let that fool you. Even in silence, even in stillness, growth is happening. The roots are stretching deeper. The soil is being prepared, and you must be faithful in the tending. That means pulling the weeds of bitterness when they rise up uninvited. It means digging out the rocks of doubt and fear that try to harden your hope. It means planting seeds of love, discipline, kindness, and forgiveness, even when you're not sure when or how they'll bloom. To grow yourself is to stay when others run. It is to listen when the world demands you shout. It is to forgive even when your pain begs you not to. It is to choose purpose over popularity, healing over hustle, wholeness over hollow success. Now don't misunderstand me. A growth doesn't mean isolation. It doesn't mean you shut the world out and build a castle of pride. No. It means you build from the inside out. It means you let God shape you in secret so that when you're called to the light, you can stand without crumbling. There will be people who won't understand this journey. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you've become distant. Let them talk. What they don't know is that you're not running away. You're growing up. You're no longer available for every drama, every distraction, every detour. You've chosen to cultivate peace, and that means pruning what no longer serves you. And sometimes growth requires goodbye. Goodbye to habits that kept you small. Goodbye to mindsets passed down from broken people. Goodbye to environments that watered your fear but starved your faith. That's all right. Every gardener knows you can't grow roses in a bed of thorns. So let yourself be transformed. Let your roots deepen in truth. Let your petals stretch toward heaven. You are not here to live a surface life. You are here to bloom in full. Take care of your body, not for the world's gaze, but for your own health. Rest when you are weary. Eat with joy. Move with grace. Speak to yourself with the tenderness you offer to others. Because this body, this vessel, is the only one you've got for the journey. Feed your mind, too. Read words that elevate you. Learn what you didn't know. Stay curious. Let wisdom be your companion, not arrogance. The more you grow, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. And don't forget your spirit. Oh, how important it is to keep that flame alive. Pray not just with your lips, but with your life. Sing even if your voice shakes. Dance even when the world feels heavy. Believe even when the answer hasn't come. There's a rhythm to growing. Some days you rise. Some days you rest. Some days you're on fire with vision. Other days you're simply breathing, surviving. And that's enough. Don't rush the process. Trust it. Trust that what you water will grow. Trust that what you tend to will bear fruit. And when the fruit comes, when the joy blossoms, when the strength becomes steady, when the peace overflows, don't forget to give thanks. Don't forget the soil you came from. Don't forget the days you cried and prayed and doubted, and yet kept going. Because the beauty of growth is not just what it produces. It's who you become along the way. You become rooted. You become real. You become radiant with resilience. And that, my dear, is a gift to the world. So grow yourself, not so you can say, look at me, but so you can say, here I am, healed, whole, and holy. Here I am, a living testimony that it is possible. Keep growing, even when it's slow, when it's quiet, even when no one claps, because one day someone will walk by your garden and find hope again, and that alone is reason enough to bloom.